Hi, we're going to be talking about today what are the factors that will determine the elasticity for a product. Or, in other words, what are the factors affecting price elasticity of demand? So, there are questions in the past papers asking you what are the factors affecting price elasticity of demand, or what factors will determine the degree of elasticity. Or they can ask you a question, okay, what factors will make a product elastic? What factors will make a product inelastic? So we're going to see some factors, important points, which will affect the elasticity. Because of this, the product may be elastic. Because of this, it may be inelastic. Mainly the distinction is between inelastic and elastic, right? So the first point is availability of substitutes. Now, if there are no or few substitutes, now you already know what is substitutes, products which can be used instead of another alternative which gives the same satisfaction. So when there are no few substitutes, no substitutes or fewer substitutes, in that case demand tends to be inelastic. Why? Even if the price increases very high, people will still continue to buy. The demand may not fall by a large extent. Now for example, take petrol. You don't have an substitute. So even if the petrol price goes up, people will still demand. The demand may not fall by a large extent. It will only fall by a small extent. Demand is less responsive because there are no suitable alternative for people to switch. But let's say there are close or more substitutes. There is a lot of substitutes at tea and coffee. So if the tea price goes up, most people will switch to coffee. So the demand is highly responsive. It is elastic and demand will fall significantly. That means by a large extent. When a price increases, because people will switch over to cheap substitutes. So when you're writing in the exam, one of the factors, so you say availability of substitutes, and then under that you simply say no or fewer substitutes, inelastic demand, plus or more substitutes, elastic demand. So you give a small briefing like that. Second one is the proportion of consumer income spent on the given product, the percentage of total expenditure. So that means from your income, how much as a percentage or how much as a proportion are you spending? So if it is taking a larger proportion, if it is taking a larger proportion of people's income, then the demand is tend to be elastic. Now, for example, take a rise in price of the car by 20%. So that means it is going to take a larger percentage of your income. So in that case, the demand will contract. But let's say it is taking a smaller proportion of people's income, demand is likely to be inelastic. Take a rise in price of salt. At a salt packet is like 55 rupees. So if it goes up by 20%, it will go up by another, let's say about uh, 55, it will come around 65. So it's not a big impact. So people will still continue to buy. Demand may drop by only a smaller percentage. So it is less responsive, right? For a matchbox is about 10 or 15 rupees. So if it goes up by 20%, it will go up only by a smaller percent. And it will take only a smaller proportion of your income. So in that case, demand tends to be inelastic. So when you're writing this point, what you're going to say, proportion of income spent, smaller proportion, inelastic, larger proportion, elastic.